And now on the line from Clare is Valerie Mhic Giolla Fhinnéin, the owner of the Irish language greeting cards company Smaointe. Valerie, welcome to our programme. Valerie, to start off, would you mind telling me and our listeners a bit about your background and then tell us how and why you set up the company Smaointe?
Okay, that's a long story, but I try to make it as short as possible. The long and the short of it is I wanted to learn some Irish. I had done some at school, but I had absolutely no interest. And then I wanted to do a degree and find out about the history of Ireland, the literature of Ireland, and everything about Ireland. And then the answer to that was to do the Irish Studies degree. So I did that, and it was during that time that one of my friends, and she was a native speaker from Donegal, she was saying that her grandfather couldn't get a birthday card. He didn't have any English, and it was a disgrace that these things weren't available. And I thought, okay, so that's something I could do, because I had an interest in art and stuff as well as other things. So that's what started me on the road.
Okay, cool. Are your cards available in any shops, or are they solely available through ordering them on your website?
No, they're available in shops, yeah. I have up in the north, in Belfast, in the Culturland, and over Donegal, down on Inishmaan, Galway, Tibberdadarren, Béarla. There was some in Cork there, but the shop closed, unfortunately. And then locally, we sell them here locally in the local post office as well.
Okay, and
so they're available.
Okay, and is there much of a demand for the cards?
It kind of trickles throughout the year. There's your usual loyal customers, but there's a bigger demand, obviously, in Christmas. People like to send an Irish language Christmas card, so
yeah.
So we're busy there.
Has there been a growth in demand of the cards in recent years compared to when you started the company, or has the demand remained largely the same?
Well, I would say actually, COVID actually helped this year. It kind of is much the sameness. Maybe grows slightly. You mean you wouldn't make your living out of it, Gareth or Dan? But at Christmas this time with COVID and people not being able to get together, we felt that there was a much bigger demand for cards.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions on the overall kind of topic of Irish language greeting cards. I'll ask you that in a few minutes. Just a couple more questions about Smaointe, your own company first. I saw the Forest na Gaeilge logo on your website, the Smaointe website. Do you get much support from Forest na Gaeilge?
Well, when I first started out in the road, that's 20 odd years ago, I got a grant for my website, and then I got another grant about 3 years ago to upgrade it and make it more up to date, which was much appreciated. But you have to put, you put your percentage, 50% at least to it, and then they'll give you the other 50%, which is fair enough. But that's as much.
Okay, and do you run Smaointe solely by yourself, or are there other people helping you also?
My husband is the main helper, unpaid labour. But I'm not big enough to employ somebody. It's just not big enough business.
Alright. I saw a tweet on Twitter there a couple of days ago saying that, I don't know if it's one Tesco or all the Tesco's, but one of the Tesco's at the moment, they have Irish language greeting cards. Do you know anything about that?
I don't have a clue. No, we did at the start. We did have ASINs had our cards. That was a good bit back. But then, to be honest, the percentage that they were looking back, it wasn't even worth your while putting it in a plastic bag. So the markup that they demand quite often makes it non-feasible at all.
Yeah, and I've noticed in the last few years that there are a few different kind of companies or organisations that do either Irish language or bilingual Christmas cards, aren't there?
Yeah. People usually do that around Christmas time. It helps their fundraising, I suppose, but they don't do any other kind. There's very few Irish language greeting card companies. And the thing that I think that makes us different is that my emphasis is on the Irish. You'll see with other companies the English is as big and as prominent and as much as the Irish. But in my designs, I like to the English is there for anybody who wishes. But if you don't want any English at all in your card, just say and you can have it without. So it's just Irish only.
I'd be delighted. I will be delighted if Tesco have brought them in, because the tweet I saw on Twitter the other day was, I don't know what, I'd say it was Tesco in Roselawn, because Dublin 15, because the woman lives in Dublin 15.
Right.
So I would half imagine that if one Tesco have them, it's possible that they all could have them. So
yeah,
I'd be delighted if that was the case. Okay, you mentioned there, we're talking there about you've got a couple of bit of support over the years from Forest and Ghaeilge. One thing I forgot to do before researching for our interview was to look on YouTube. Do you have any kind of social media apart from your website for your company?
No, I don't actually. We just have the Facebook page, which has a nice little following. I need to get up to date with Instagram. It's just because it's not my only job here. I do translations as well, so it's basically kind of, at the start it was more like a support for people who wanted it. You know, it wasn't sort of a big money maker. Never will be, I don't think.
Okay, we mentioned there Instagram. To come towards the end of the interview, Valerie, before we do our As Gaeilge interview, can you tell me if you have any other plans for Smaointe in the future, or do you hope to keep the company generally as it is?
Well, I suppose it depends what the demand is. Actually, I'm just about to introduce a series of scríobh, nice Celtic stationery, watermarked and otherwise, a nice matching envelope range, especially in this day and age. People seem to want to be sending and writing more because of the situation we're in, because of COVID. As well as that, I do wedding invitations and memorial cards, and so if anybody wants a personalised service, it's available, because I have my own printer here. It's good quality Xerox digital printer, so I can.
And you're based in Clare, aren't you?
Yeah, County Clare. We moved up from County Derry there about 6 years ago now.
All right. So your company was based with you in Derry, and now it's based in Clare, yeah?
That's right. I started it in Derry, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
After I did the degree, the degree was Ulster University. So, no, it's just if you're interested in the Irish language, and I think people are generally, the interest is increasing, isn't it? Yeah. I think we should use it as much as we can. Use it or lose it, as they say. So this is just one little service that'll help it along the way.
And I noticed from your website that the post and packaging is very cheap. It's very reasonable. Like, it's only something like €1 in Ireland.
That's right.
A lot of the time, if you order something online, the postage is very expensive. But could you just tell our listeners the postage rates?
Yeah, well, that was a bit of a problem with the website, to be honest. It just gets complicated if you start doing rates. We just have a rate for Ireland, the island of Ireland, one for Europe, and then outside Europe, as in America and stuff, Australia. Now, you're going to lose your money, obviously. You're going to lose some, but sure, over the whole picture, it works out okay.
So when you say lose money, you mean because of Brexit, do you?
No, I mean, the post is going to be more than I charge for it.
Okay.
But if you order, if somebody else orders only half a dozen cards or whatever, it's okay, it works out all right. Okay. But if somebody gives me a big order and it's only €1, then that's when I lose, but there you go.
Yeah, I was reading, if you want to order, just say one card or a couple of cards, it only costs €1 for Ireland, yeah?
Yeah, you can, no matter what your order is, it's only €1.
Alright, that's cool, yeah. Fair play to you.
Cool.
Okay, that's great, Valerie. Valerie Mhic Giolla.
There's a few books on there as well. I'm adding more books to it. Now, these are just one-off books that I've had in my library, so to speak, over the last 20-odd years, which I would be finished with, for example, books from university, literature and stuff. So they're there, and started to be there. There'll be more added as we move along. When I sort myself out.
Okay, Valerie, it was great talking to you. Béarla, good luck with the company, and Landhamid your English and t-agallamh as Gaeilge in this, right?
Okay.
Okay, Valerie, follow to the Clare.
For my habit.
Valerie, bhris that beag an ancient dom faoin chúra agus faoin gui inar hintu an comhlacht iontach seo Smaointe a chruthaíonn?
Okay, well, has she 3 bliana sfeil hin nuair bhí me ar an óscoil agus bhí Clare den chuid bhí si garan nachrú an seanachar in an Cártaí Beannachta mar nachrú Béarla aige. So just has meg Smaointe bhaisiam maybe sinny rud mar sinny anu so hannig an Smaointe a machligan selection san óscoil.
Okay, an mean the Cártaí Beannachta in shopping there no and will the comhlacht ar fáil her in Idirlín one.
Tá si ar fáil vint shoppi ar fud na tíre ar fud an line. Dyn al conti intrama Baillia Clare, Tibradaran, Inishman, Gaeilge agus timple an cheantar seo. Tá si ar fáil. So ma tasim again shoppi the Cártaí Beannachta ta babish my has to.
Agus an bhfuil mór an éile ver the Cártaí?
Tá sin wadnis far now nolig na Indian geri Cártaí Gaeilge a cheolú san nolig donna charge agus an chomhlach. So nís skriwer in mi na sauna man for na cajala den bblian.
Okay, honnig mé logo oras na Gaeilge ar le híomh Grace an dogan siad mór an takeíochta díobh chuile bhliain?
Ní hella bhliain dan firma jauntas ar dús nar thosa mé amach agus siú Grace an a chur arbon agus couple of blian ó hin firma jauntas eile lena nua hanra. So win resulta sin.
Okay. Tá cúpla ceistena a gom faoi mór fixture maidir le Cártaí Beannachta sa Gaeilge go generalta a just cúpla ceistena a gom faoi Smaointe ar dús. An bhfuil aon daoine eile ag cuidiú leat sa comhlacht nó an dhéon tú an obair fad?
Janam hain an codjas módan obair ach ben mar chéile an le codúlam má tá sé dí, but níl an teirgid agam daoine a ostu.
Okay, holding me tweet or Twitter cúpla lá hin ó ban os bhá clé hog si Greengraf de Tesco aigen Tesco áirithe mai clé ní mé chumlan cinnte cén Tesco bhí an ach Cártaí Beannachta sa Gaeilge a bhí an nó dá theangar ní mé cinnte man si de Gaeilge ó bháin nó dá theangar ach bhfuil éon álas a go bhí seo mar tá mé las míanamh le Beidir má tá na Cártaí seo ar fáil i Tesco bháin go bhfuil siad ar fáil ag nach Tesco bhfuil éon álas go bhí seo?
Níl ní ach mé iad fáil tháin, but má tá siad anas mai an rud níl bhain seagam leis na Cártaí sin, but hín sásta maybe smuoinú faoi má bhí siad sásta má chud Cártaí chéan a chuirteach ní mistelam.
Okay, shouty me on Twitter, right? Cogus. Tá roiint agrachtaí eile a gcuireann Cártaí Beannachta sa Gaeilge ar fáil go háir ag am nólaigh nach bhfuil?
Tá agus scolanna agus cumann agus daoine is deis maiich an airgid a ail don chaman nó don scol nó. So teagam sin, gaman siad sin, but nín de gra bíon siad Béarla agus sa Gaeilge. So, but tá ré agat an seo, mas fearlad Cártaí gan Béarla a bheith an Uí túiad. Agus Janam ordaithe do scolanna gachfil blian is chomáid chundí éú mar hampla. So tá customary agam a héan arás gach blian, so tá mas ásta lei sin.
Yeah, fecha míad le roinnthaid blianta in US ag am nólaigh ach go háirithe Cártaí Beannachta agus le héad t-agallamh nó an Ghaeilge is cuimhin lom Cártaí nullig áil ó chomhlachta chundé mo cantar féin roinnt bliain ó hin agus bhí sé an Ghaeilge bháin freisin bhí sé sin jazz. An bhfuil bé mar le a go a Cártaí nullig nó an freastalíonn tú ar cuile sort mór ócád má dtugin tú mé sa bhliain ó cad scéal?
Well, tá eileh níos fearr an nullig ach tá siad ar fáil agam, mas mai le Cártaí Beannachta á caidir bé dheoí tú an seo so mar a bhfuil siad le fáil ar an siúidirlín just tean t-agallamh agus teanna ceandaid.
Okay, Valerie, chun seachta dro dhear an aglah an féidir a rálum an bhfuil éon phlean eile a maidir le Smaointe go sa todhchaí agus beidir freisin an bhfuil teachtracht a go dar néistóirí inniu maidir leis an service tágat?
Well, just mas tá Gaeilge agat bun úsáid agus má tá service dí maidir le Cártaí nó aici banis stuff mar sin dheoí tú an seo just bun úsáid as de chuid Gaeilge ba sin níos fearr sa machchan seo.
Rinne mé dearmid chun rála tá tú lunathe gundé an Clare nach bhfuil?
Tá mé lunathe chun Clare nes bhí me chundí gada rive chanig mid an seo sé blian ó hin.
Tá clanne a gom níos am an legan Gaeilge an áit be Milltown Malby,
Okay, sin siús an bhóthar. Agus is maiithnar an teach a cheanimid an seo an tainimid a bhí ar an creidsa Krishna Hawan.
Okay.
So Corha maithe bhí an nar a hana huiid just dehan sin an tainimid tá ar an gceata.
Sin go hálín, yeah.
Okay. Actually, it's okay. Come on, let's go.
Go.
Oh, just remember an tanim sin one shall a couple stallion of an show or an irim show. Agus sin an tanim of or Sophie suggest.
Okay.
Krishna Hawan. Shin a marriage no just my Tashavigiri Rutherby, Cártaí Beannachta, Cártaí Beannachta, John Irby, just John Chad William.